Studio sessions, we just start the day. OGGO grown and lifestyle on play. Pull up and chill, let the world fade away. Coffee or tea, come in, come stay.
Good morning. How we doing, guys? Wow, welcome to the show. We are here. We are back. We are live with you. We got some beauties in the chat room already. Legs, good morning. Mr. E, how are you? Seeing who else was in here? Oh, Growing Old was in here. Very nice, very nice. Hoping he can make his way over here today if he's got a minute or two. Shout out to everybody out there in the audience there. Oh, Growth Systems Incorporated. That is the company that puts all this stuff on. This is the show here this morning. And of course, it is studio sessions right here in the OGGO studio. So I'm chilling. What are you guys up to? How's everybody doing? Man, so much stuff to talk about today. So many things to think about, do, see. Hey, what can I say? Mr. How have you been? I was just listening to an episode on hydroponics. My guy Daniel Wilson, dude, super interesting. I was listening to that over on which podcast? Mr. Growit's podcast. That was really cool. Listening along with that one there. So yeah, guys, what are you up to today, Mr. E? I see Growing Old. Maybe I'd heard he was gonna stop on up here if he had a moment, but I know he's a busy man. Shout out to him, of course, with his show. He did a fantastic show last night. I got dribs and drabs of it, but I was listening along as my son and I were installing some accent walls and features in his bedroom. So that was we had a busy ass night last night, working till all hours of the evening with my son. Much love to him. Just getting going, bro, says Mr. E. Growing Old says Legs, good to see you. I'm waiting for a thumbs up here, so we'll get a thumbs up from there he is. Welcome.
What's up? Hey, thanks.
doing,
I just
sir?
had to prep.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Absolutely no problem with that. None at all there. Officially, technically taking my first step into hydro now that I want an auto pot from Growing Old. There you go,
There you
Mr.
go.
E. Yes, that's correct. That is correct. He did win the auto pot, didn't he?
Yeah, I was going to mention that he was a winner. He did win that. And I'm working this week to get all of that stuff out to Luke there at Autopot so we can ship that stuff out. And then I'm working on shipping our stuff out. And then, yeah, I've got other stuff to ship out. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just like you, Andrew. I'm busy.
I love it, man. It's good to be busy. Isn't it such a blessing?
It is. And
it really is.
Hopefully people understand that I am the voice of Growing Old, kind of. I am the mailroom. I am the gardener. So what I'm trying to get at is, bear with me. I'll get them there. It just takes a little time when you're a one-person operation.
Oh yeah, trust me. Well, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I didn't really start to see any progress until I found a team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's a funny way to think about it, but it takes less effort to do more when you have your team with you, and that's
right.
Absolutely imperative thing if people are looking to change or make it happen out in the world. Get a team. That's all I can say on that.
And when I'm saying about being a one-man team, that's only my part of Growing Old. I mean, Wendy does everything else. I mean, she prints out all the labels and stuff for me and helps me out, and then she'll take it to the post office, but especially the overseas stuff, because she'll print out the declaration forms and stuff here at the house, put them on, and away we go. But yeah, I mean, what my part is the hard writing it, packaging it, and shipping it. Yeah, that's the logistics part.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to all the ladies out there holding us down. Honestly, we got 3 over here to
Yeah.
help make our organization run smoothly, and it is running smoothly. I gotta say, the amount of orders I've actually filled this week that Shannon has then shipped out. Shannon's been on top of all of our envelopes, and then of course shout out to Jax keeping the media side of everything rolling
Right.
really steadily. And of course, Allie doing all the emailing, all of the website updates, logistics, coordination. So shout out to those 3 ladies for doing their thing in our organization. I wouldn't be able to do all this without them. I certainly wouldn't have time to come up here and
No,
entertain people and
no,
talk about hydroponics and
that's what you do. You give the ladies the smart work, and then you and Pete do. I don't want to call it
the dumb work.
I don't want to call it that. But you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. I think it's
let the intellect take care of the intellectual, and then we'll do the rest.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think what it is it's a nice mix of utilitarian versus informative, right? So the girls handle the information side of things, and the guy handle the utilitarian side of things, and I think that's a great mix of workforce, I would say, and then certainly too. I mean, Pete and I, when we get contracts for greenhouses or grow facilities, obviously we are the first 2 to get signed up for all of that stuff there. So, and I love that aspect of our business too. I think as time goes on, we will try to push a little bit harder to have grow facilities and grow companies realize that there is kind of there is a service company that you can call. It's not necessarily that you need a full-blown overhaul or a renovation or sorts, but sometimes things just need modified in and grow spaces. I mean, I know just as well as everyone. On that note, I was talking with Yellow Skunk Farms yesterday for a podcast, and that guy,
yeah, I mean,
that guy and I have so much in common. I like just walking around his grow space with him and hearing how he's gone through the step of what he's needed to do, and then things he's altered, things he's added on. Realizations throughout the grow, like being like, oh damn, the humidity in here is always peaking. I can't get it under control. What do I do? So stuff like that, and listening to him talk about the way that he developed the room, it just made I think that was probably the least amount of words I've maybe ever said in a podcast, Jeff. I just
holy cow, I'll have to watch that. The cool thing about his show is it's not about it's more about the ecosystem that he has built than it is about what he's growing, really. I mean, that's what it's in my mind, he's got a really good show, and there's a lot of education going on beyond growing. It's all about here's how an ecosystem evolves. Here's what you need. Oh no, it's cool. It's a good. That's a really good show,
dude. If people aren't following Yo Elevated, how are you? It's good to see you. If people are not following Yellow Skunk yet, I'm gonna make sure that they do, because just like not only is his show really cool, but when I got to talk to him, man, we went for almost 2 hours on a 1-hour show, and that's how it. But you know what? Like, that's how it goes with me. Because if I'm interested and I'm chit chatting, and I don't even watch the time. I don't give a fuck about the runtime.
Right.
I'm like,
I mean, it's because that's we don't do it that much anymore on our lives, because anymore I just say, yeah, 2 hours is about it. It may go a little bit longer, but I used to do 3. And it was like, hey, let's see if we can do 4. And now I'm like, nah, let's do our thing. Let's let people go do their thing. And my body says I can't get up and go to the bathroom. 2 hours is about the limit. So
yeah, I got you. If all
of a sudden my screen, pops up like that, you know where I went.
No, that's A-okay, Jeff. Trust me, you and I have been working together long enough now. I know the codes. I know you know what I mean? You get working with your crew, and you kind of learn how to just cover for some people.
Right.
Grass Monkey and LP in Alberta has water culture. They might be interested. Heck, all right, hell yeah, Elevated. I'll have a look at them. Grass Monkey, it is. Yeah, I'm
That's
always into talking with anybody about the prospect of hydroponics and what that means. I think I'm going to start calling it. I mean, I heard Daniel Wilson in that podcast this morning. Not to jump around topics too much here, but just reading on Elevated's comment, I think I'm going to start referring to it all as water culture. I think that's what I'm actually going to start doing, just because listening to well, I mean, yeah, Yellow Skunk and I got talking about the living water as opposed to living soil. If that makes any sense, right? So like he was talking about like what you don't want to do is system is run it sterile, right? It needs microbes, it needs bacterial
right.
growth, it needs algae, it needs all of these things because they're all part of a bigger system, right? And so he was talking about like how he had accidentally with red light, he had accidentally kind of like almost zapped his water, I dare say.
Oh,
He
right.
noticed
Because of
that the grass is along the edge of his
I was telling
riverbed.
you
Yep, they
the
started to
yep.
brown out, and he said the only thing that I'd really changed was I'd cranked up the red diodes in my GMLs there, and the plants did not respond to it positively at all. And
Right.
you know, it was,
Is
it,
it
it was interesting to hear his chat on it too, because he was saying, if the water ceases to have microbes and bacteria in it, then that means that the soil won't, because the whole prospect of his build is that the soil leaches water out of the river, right? And
right?
that's how the
Right.
soil beds stay moist all the time. And so his living water is feeding his living soil. And I just, and he and I got talking about how, in my systems, I run living water. I don't run a sterile system because I know full well that the roots and the plant itself, man, it needs bacteria, it needs pathogens, it needs, it shouldn't be sterile. It's an alive plant.
Right.
If it's
Right.
sterile, it's probably on its way to death. So,
And I know a lot of
yeah.
times. I know a lot of times when I've talked to Josh or had him on, you'll see in the comments, oh, because I think part of what you're talking about there with the living water. I mean, he's got fish in there, he's
Yep.
got some turtles in there, but you always see
Goddamn shrimp.
turtles and salmonella and whatever. Well, if you were walking in the woods next to a stream and you saw this great big plant pop up and you had your opportunity to collect some of that, would you not?
Right.
And are there not all sorts of animals doing worse things in that
Yeah.
stream?
Well,
So, because I think that's
yeah.
where the soil comes in.
Yeah.
I think the soil filters all that crap out, and
Well,
yeah. So
and that, I mean, even hearing him talking about like the way sediment even works, right? Like on Earth, him being a country boy, knowing how a well even functions, right? Like how does a well refill? Like like where does the water come from in a well?
right,
How does it get clean? Why is it clean when it comes out of the well? And he
right.
just took that practice and applied it to something that he built himself. And I was like, dude, when you watch the podcast, you're gonna be sitting there and you'll see me just kind of like not in awe, but like just shutting the fuck up and letting them rip, because
Joe,
I was like, yeah, I'm just like, he's speaking everything. I'm like, yes,
right,
yes, yes. he's like, he's talking about the water table, and he's talking about like, talking about gravel and silt and clay and all the ways that water actually gets purified via nature. Right, and we don't have to do a damn thing. That my water that's coming out of my tap right now, she's good to go. I don't have to do no filter, no nothing. So,
right.
to hear him kind of take that and apply it to something, I mean, again, like that was, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, me and this guy have so much in common just with the way that, like, that's what's happened to me over the years, Jeff. Sitting out on the farm, watching how life goes by, and just
Yep.
kind of like, you know what I mean? Like when I water my plants outside, I never worry about whether the water's sterile. Hell, sometimes the water's
Right.
green. Sometimes it
Right.
smells like compost. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like
And,
there's so many things in life where it's like when you overanalyze it or you over clean it or you overcorrect it, you end up removing the nature from the natural system that you're trying to replicate. And it's
and
just kind of ironic, right? Like
no, that's the way, and that's kind of the way I operate. I mean, it comes across as I'm just lazy and don't want a pH, but I mean, I'm just like, hey, the water that comes out of my well is like 7.2. I pour it in, it feeds up through the soil, and my plants, I mean, they sit there and they
there
pray
you go.
to the light, or out there in the greenhouse, they track the sun.
Yeah.
So apparently it's not totally bad. Now, granted, I imagine if I worked a little harder, like I was commercial or something, maybe it'd be a whole lot better and bigger. But you know what? For what I do, it works. It works really good for me, and I always like to say, "You be you." So
Yeah.
I'm just being me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, hey, it's
it's,
like to each their own. The world takes
right,
all types. If you don't like river growing, lucky for us, there is a Yellow Skunk Farms, and he really
right,
does.
right.
So
Gotta,
I can enjoy his work immensely. Because personally speaking, I don't have like watching him build. Like he had the second riverbed all constructed, right? So
right.
kind of showing me almost like a before and an after, right? Like side
Yep.
by side. And he's like, so this is kind of what the other one looked like. But he goes, and he went on into great detail on the pot. It's gonna be a banger when it comes out because he really just kind of sat down there and kind of got right down into the nuts and bolts with me. Myself being a carpenter and whatnot, I was fascinated. All right, I was just like, all right, fucking break this down for me. How did this come about? How did this come to be? And he went right through it with me. And I was just like, this is fucking fascinating, dude.
And
Like,
see,
I would
that's
never build it myself, but I can so appreciate somebody's tenacity and being like, no, I'm bringing outdoors indoors. I'm going to
and
fucking,
that's the real
I'm going to
good.
make it work.
That's the real cool thing about you. And I just want to say, Donkey Bud, thank you. And 420 THCA pancake reviews. Yep, I got some stuff coming to you.
Yeah,
But
same. I was actually just about to say that myself.
what
THCA there.
what I
Yeah,
was
cheers, bud. We
going
got
to.
a couple care
Oh,
packs
sorry.
heading your way. So, no worries. Do your thing, bro. You're
But
good. You're
but
good.
what I was going to
Always.
say was, because you're a carpenter and and because of that you can see things and you can build things in 3D in your head or whatever and work it like that. You can, like me, I can see and I'm like, well, that's cool. Whereas you're probably looking at it saying, well, that's cool. And here's how he's building it. And in your brain, you're thinking, how can I build that? Whereas mine is saying, hey, how can he come and build that for me?
Well, I think that's that Lego mentality, right? Like that again. I can see, you know what I mean? Like I can see Lego sets built in my mind completely. And you just look at the picture on the box and you say, okay, got it. Right? Like
Right.
I understand how that would be built, presumably, but then if you get right down into the step by step, play by play, that's often the part that is both rewarding and frustrating for a carpenter because you know what the end result looks like. And so in your mind, you tend to underestimate the amount of time spent on each detail. And that's, you know what, like if you can see the product in your mind's eye before it's even been built, chances are you've already streamlined the path to get there. But then the
Yeah.
actual physical steps that it takes to build something end up just being far, far more involved than what you had originally presumed because your mind can just jump to the finish. No problem. Boom, got it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then right? And then from there, like even just with my son's bedroom that we're redoing there for him, he and I did his accent last night there. So just a nice paneling on the wall just to enhance the look of the bedroom, add a little pizzazz to it, so to speak. And we're going through, and of course, it's we got to go get the jigsaw and the finish nailer. Then we need another tool. Then we're gonna have to run out and get some caulking to make just like keeping everything rolling, and it's just the step-by-step breakdown of the construction is actually where the frustration starts to lie, because you're like, God damn it, I can see this accent wall finished in my head. Now I just have to go through, right? I got to find all the right pieces of Lego and fucking clip them together in the right order.
Yes.
That is the beauty of seeing other people's projects too. Like, I fucking loved it the way he broke it down. He was like, "Oh, on my first build, I did this," and he showed me kind of a thing, and then he was like, "But on my second build, I got smart," and I was like, it just made me smile because I think about all the fucking times that hindsight's been 2020. You build something, you use it, and you look back and you're like, "Fuck." Right? Like, fuck, I guess if I had a chance to rebuild this, I'd probably do this, that, and that. And so truthfully, I mean, even back to my son's bedroom, there had been things about that room that I always thought, I was like, well, shit, if I ever have the chance to renovate, this is what I'm gonna do. And tile floor, accent wall, and here it is now. It's all coming into fruition. But of course, I could see it before I even thought about renovating it, before the flood even happened, before anything. And so now my body is just trying to keep up with the fact that my mind already knows what it's supposed to look like. Like, I can, what I mean? Like, and now my son's starting to get into that mode as well, where I can show him, a picture of something similar that I'm trying to design or build on the internet, right? You just find, you can type it in and have accent wall, bedroom, boom.
Yeah.
This is what I want your bedroom to look like. And he goes, all right, fucking, he can see it.
Yeah,
and so then he has to figure out how to work with me, build the pieces in the correct order, go find the material in the right order, and just make it happen. And it's been really, really rewarding to actually watch him kind of pick it up. You know what I mean, Jeff? I wasn't necessarily have an interest in carpentry, but to watch him naturally become kind of enamored by it and willing to do the work and like, it's his bedroom, so he'll wake up in it for a long time and think, damn, I built this. I'm so fucking proud of myself. And that's a good way to wake up.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, because I know because my son, he can look at something and it must be because you guys all grew up in the Lego era, but because my son can look at something and then he can build anything, just like you're saying there. I grew up in the erector set, where you got your little tools, you had your little pieces of metal, and it came with little screws and nuts, and you built like, I mean, it was cool.
Honestly, I hope that as time goes on, Jeff, I hope to see like more of those Connects style toys, or the whatever it is, the erectors toys or whatever. We can build a crane or a hi-ho or just because I think that there's a certain amount of that industriousness I feel has been lost, right? Like seeing people want to get up and go, and like seeing people want to create innovation and like try to make something different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see a lot. I don't see that tenacity so much. I'm trying to get my son to feel that. I'm like, let's get the power tools in our hands, bro. Let's go.
I think what I've noticed is, like, when I was coming up and everything, college education. Now, I still think you need a postgraduate education beyond high school. I still believe in that. But now I'm kind of like, when I look around, I mean, you got kids that have, my daughter, she graduated during COVID, and that's been really tough. But I think if you went more into trade schools, I think there's, because I can never get a plumber. I can never find, I can never get a carpenter out here to build my anything out, because there's not enough of them. And
Yep.
trust me, when the plumber does come,
Yep.
he shows up and he says, "Hey, it's $175 and I haven't even started yet." So I'm saying, I think trade schools may be a little place to lean. My son, he's got a really good job with the government, but I kind of wish I'd have pushed him more into a trade, because he'd probably be making a whole lot more money and he'd be more stable. But okay, that was a little offshoot. I'm sorry.
No worries, dude. That's perfect. I mean, it's exactly right. Like, I myself, I guess you could still consider me a tradesman. Of course, I've leaned into something, else as of recently, but even still, there's an aspect of our company that requires us to have a hands-on aspect and a construction
Right.
style attitude. Certainly manufacturing your own stuff is not going to be for the faint of heart, and also consistency. Well, manufacturing is a big part of it, and so being skilled in carpentry, being able to replicate the same results over and over and over again, that's been incredible training for me, right? And not only that, but Pete there as well, world class fabricator, welder, amazing at replicating things, like, you know what I mean,
Right.
like, and that is a skill, to be able to
Right.
replicate your results over and over and over again without any differentiation.
Right.
That's huge, right? Like, and again, that's a skill that you develop as a tradesman or woman, having to go to job sites and constantly requiring the same result, different job site,
Right.
different needs, different whatever, but still have to have the exact same result. And it's almost like you franchise yourself. You know what I mean? Like, people can expect your work quality no matter what part of the world you go to. It is almost like a franchising aspect. You know what I mean? So I always said, if you plunked me down in freaking Tahiti or Thailand or Russia or whatever, I could still be a carpenter. It would, it might take a little bit of time to revamp um, how it is that I'm thinking about the carpentry, as there are always rules and things that change throughout the time, but certainly the aspect of work, getting after it and picking up the tools just to be able to build stuff. That is absolutely palpable skill to have. You gotta be able to keep on moving with your work skills. So yeah, and that's the thing too. Nowadays, you touched on something about, like, the kids these days coming up. I personally feel like giving my son the ability to build his own bedroom is an absolutely huge start to
Right.
a self-generated life. Being able to actually say, I built this, I enjoy it, hell, I live in it, right? Like, those are huge skills to
It's
have.
a
So
it's a confidence builder, so that when he's 36, 37 years old and he's got kids and he's working in a room there, then they could do it. He and his son or his daughter can do it together
yep.
and not have to call, you know, somebody from some construction company to come and do it for you. You can do it as a team, and it give him the confidence to do that, and then it builds confidence in my mind to do other things. Once you're once you've built your confidence up in one area, I think it kind of spreads, and you become more confident in other things.
Oh yeah, the cross pollination of information is huge.
Oh,
If you have information in one section, that applies. You know what I mean? There's no way that doesn't apply elsewhere. It's just a matter of being able to connect your dots. So, and in terms of critical thinking, carpentry and the trades are maybe some of the best critical thinking tools that you could ever put yourself inside, right? Like, once you become a carpenter or a renovator,
right.
plumber, electrician, there's nobody coming to give you a step-by-step, play-by-play. You got to get in there and get your freaking hands dirty. Let's go. You got to
Yeah.
start figuring stuff out, ask questions, figure out the answer yourself.
Measure
How do
twice,
I get
cut
those
once.
results? Like, yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be that electrician that runs, you run your 100 foot of wire, but you needed 101, and you're like, oh crap, because you don't want to splice that crap there at the end, and you're like, oh, that's not
Think ahead.
professional.
Think ahead. Make a good plan. But yeah, it's and then like on that note too, we were talking just about how the kids in school these days, like for my son, with the rise of AI and everything else, there are a lot of things that I feel like will potentially be able to be taken care of, and maybe everything will eventually be able to be taken care of, but there will still be a desire to have a made song or a human made freaking cabinet or a human made, I don't know, anything. Like there's still going to be a need for humans to want to see human endeavors. And if everybody's just kind of said, nah, I'm not going to learn how to build anything, the AI's got it, well, then that knowledge can easily be forgotten as well. That's a big bottleneck for society. We don't want to have all these things that we've built up to live comfortably. We don't want them to all just disappear overnight, right? Just give all the info to the freaking computers and say, I forgot, whatever. I don't care. I don't need to know how to build a house or plumb a line or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. The AI can do it, and the AI's like, fuck you. I don't want to help.
Yeah, you still need to.
Then what?
Well, then you need to be able to read.
Right, and so on top of that,
that's a show that's a topic for another show there.
But for what it's worth, too, I mean, once you like with my, it seems like as he started to really hit his mid-teens here, he became much more involved in using physical items, i.e., driving a vehicle, running a wood splitter. Firing a bow and arrow off, throwing hatchets, whatever. He all of a sudden became very, very, very involved in that. And I feel like, when you have particularly young men, like when they develop that interest naturally, I'm just flooding them with that interest now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I want you to learn how to pick up every single tool that you can get your hands on and learn how to use it comfortably, because those are the dying pieces of information in our school system. We don't have teachers out there being like, all right, kids, today we're going to frame a house. Like it's not what it used to be in school, right? Like it's a lot more tech based and it's a lot less hands on. I want kids that know how to thread a needle. I want kids that can make an egg for themselves in the morning and understand how to go harvest that egg, right? Like what did it take to raise that chicken? There's a lot of information. Like I feel like home ec and the likes, that shit's coming back. Because I feel like there's going to be a starving for information that people are like, teach me how to garden. Teach me, why am I stacking firewood like that? Like, you know what I mean? All of that information from the old world that everybody basically had ingrained. I feel like all of that stuff, people are like, fuck yeah.
And that's where I'm pretty lucky, because Wendy is probably more mechanically inclined than I am. I mean, Wendy can build just about anything.
Right.
And then I just wanted to pop back because you said franchise yourself. I mean, that's a good that would be a good motto to live by, because if you're franchising yourself, then you're always putting your best self forward and stuff. But I also thought at the same time of Big Nug, because I saw him out there, and I believe Big Nug franchises himself, because I mean he'll show up at a job and they'll say, hey, we've got like these 6 different big vehicles to drive, and one guy didn't show up, so we're going to put you in this one. Oh, and then he'll drive for a while and somebody shows up, so now we're going to move you over here. So Big Nug has franchised himself just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I dare say too, there's in terms of like the carpentry aspect, I think probably the biggest problem with trying to step up a carpentry business is that you need reliable carpenters with you. And that can be a little bit hard to find nowadays. And so, like, for myself personally, I had over the last 3 years before I the big switch into full-time ownership of OGGO, and kind of really taking this off, and blessed that we did it in the way that we did it. So thank you for that. But it's certainly been an interesting perspective shift to think I used to do most of my carpentry on my own. I got a couple guys with me as the last 2, 3 years started to progress, and I had some people working with me in an effort to pick up the pace, get more done daily. But a lot of the problem with trying to speed up the process was that you might get guys to work 3 days a week, and I'm there 5, 6, 7 days a week. But guys that I've hired to help, they know that they're in such demand, they don't have to show, like, they're like, I got other stuff I can do. I don't need to be here with you today.
Right.
I've got jobs all over this county.
Yeah.
So it gets a little
somebody
bit
else
tough.
offering me more money. Yeah.
It is what it is, man. It's like, with certainly, and if you have your own job to do and somebody else calls you and says, hey man, I need you on my job site, you're like, I'm not gonna spread myself thin just so you can get yours done, unless you can come help me right after that. So that's with fellow carpenters in the area, it actually becomes more like everybody's become a sole proprietor, and you're just able to call your sole proprietor friends and ask them to come help. That they're skilled enough to do it. They also have their entire lineup of tools and their license and their insurance and their that's a big thing too, because again, with people coming to work with you, if they're using your tools and they're using your vehicle and whatever, then you're like, damn, this is a whole nother level of cost that I have to account for, right? So
that's what I was gonna ask, if you tested them, do you say, hey, like if you've ever watched one of those cooking shows or chef shows, they always say, chef, pack up your knives, because they bring their own stuff. So I was gonna ask that. Do you say, hey, bring your own tools? And then do you say, hey, can you cut me a dovetail, or do you kind of test
so
them?
it depends. I mean, I'm sure you got to read the room, right, Uncle Jeff? Like there are there are certain times that I have one guy that I hire with me. He's maybe a little less skilled, but he's awesome at labor. And then another guy who's a little bit more money, but he knows extremely large amounts of technicality, and he brings his own truck, he brings his own tools. So, depending on whatever job I'm into, I'll kind of read it at own skill and say, this is who I could, right? Like, this is who I could use for this job, and that maybe I'd have a role for him for a couple days. But typically what I do is just go on a job by job basis. And I think too, sometimes with the bigger carpentry companies, sometimes you get people in there that actually just fucking don't have a clue what's going on, and they've been told, all right, you're going to work at this with this guy, and they're like, okay, and they kind of go in and nobody's giving them proper instruction, and they're just weaving through the day trying to get a paycheck. But for guys like me who are self-employed, very intentional with their work, that can, those bigger companies, you watch them perform and you're like, man, sometimes I feel like this gives car rap, right? If you got guys in your job site that just don't care, or they just don't know what they're doing, and they're kind of meandering throughout their day, it's not good. It's not good. And I tend to keep my circle very small, and the guys that I do call on, I trust very deeply. Like if I say show up, I know that these guys that I call, they're gonna show up, and that's a huge thing, right? To have that level of trust and respect for each other. Yeah.
And you got to, because I could tell you, a guy down the street here, he drives he owns a gravel truck, and he delivers, he works and he delivers gravel. So he built a big garage to house that truck and stuff. And if you're not hiring the right people, because we were both having back surgery on the same day, so I was talking to him about it. Because on this, like, after it was all built, it was like, wow, that's nice. And then all of a sudden, the sides of the building started peeling back. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So they had to get somebody else out there to
sir.
So if you don't have the right crew, Now it's your company that's facing the, oh, look at what company A did. Here's how they built my house or my garage. Yeah. Yeah, that's your yeah, so when you're running a business, you have to be a little more, I'll say, prickish.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Because
mean,
it's your
yeah,
name.
that's the. I mean, and again, I feel like over the years too, you tend to find people that you can be blunt with, people that you can say like, especially like coworkers, like my guy Uncle Russ. Everybody. Well, anybody that was hanging out last year maybe got to see sexy Uncle Russ hanging out here doing work with us around the property, and he was at some job sites with me. But he's one of my guys that comes to my shed. You Russ. I think he's up in Muskoka right now. Yeah, he's one of those guys where I'm like, hey, dude, we're staying late, and also pick up the fucking pace. And like it might at first he might give me that little sour look, and he's like, oh yeah, this is professional. We're here to do a job. This ain't playtime. Yeah, and it's very, very valuable to have people around you like that, where you're like, we're staying late. We got to get this shit done. Pick up the pace. We're starting early tomorrow. Whatever it takes, and that's to have people that are down to do that. That's very rare. So the guys that I do have, I treat them well. I try to talk to them as often as I can. So we all have our own job sites and our own lives, so I don't want to bother them all the time. But when we get together and we work, man, it's all smiles and it's highly productive. So it's good when you meet people, and then as time goes on, they just become a super tight friend, and you
Right.
can just rely on them. Kind of like you, dude. When I text you,
Oh,
I'm like, hey,
oh no, I'm.
and you're like,
Yeah,
yeah, well, let's go.
I just want to. I just want to try and help the community as best I can. If I can help you, I mean, and the minute I'm not, then just say, hey,
Nah, you're good,
like
man. You're
like over
good.
there
I
at
love
Italian
having you
Bagels.
on. I love having you on this show, man. It's honestly like these Tuesdays and Thursdays that we have this segment going. Hey
I
man,
like
I
it.
woke up this morning. I fucking hopped out of bed. I'm like, yes, sir. Fucking
Yeah,
Thursday
I,
morning.
I got up.
Like,
Yeah,
let's go. I got a show with Uncle Jeff. Found my
I was
nicest microbial mass T-shirt.
see, and if I'd have known you were wearing that, I would have wore. I got a microbial T-shirt from a guy I met at BizCon. And he looks like me, but he was 83, and I'm like, holy crap! Yeah,
Damn.
he was in good shape, and I see that Mikey's loving his mothership over there, and just so cousin Slim knows.
Yes, we got some sunflowers going on, baby.
Yep. Actually, I got two packages. They're nothing fancy, but what do they say? 8 to 12 foot tall is what they say.
I can't wait till they start renaming sunflowers slim flowers just across the board. I think that we should just probably start a petition, I would say worldwide, to just have sunflowers completely renamed slim flowers forevermore. Kind of banish sunflowers from the record. We all know they grow under the sun, as everything
Right.
does, right? That's oddly specific for one flower to be a sunflower, but a slim flower. They are tall, they're slim, they're kind of
That's what I'll
lanky.
I'll tag them because I'm gonna try and put them in.
Fuck yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
try and plant
Good
some
morning,
over
Rain.
next to my bees.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna push them in some pots.
I'm seeing all kinds of beauties rolling through the chat this morning. Oh, my wife's here. Hello, wife. Good morning.
Yeah, she
Nice to
was
see you.
explaining what.
Hello, everyone else. Cheers.
She was explaining what your shirt meant.
What's that?
She was telling the chat what your shirt meant.
Oh yeah, shout out. Well, yeah, it's I gotta give a shout out to my microbial mass. We were talking about living water, you and I, right? And
Right.
Microbial Mass is the company. They got with me back before. Shit, we were talking before I even showed anybody Gorillaponics. So I mean, that's how much faith those guys have had in me since forever. Really, really stand-up company. Shout out to Jeff, the owner of the company. He and I have been friends for almost a decade now. and he is cool as fuck. He's got a great bit of science behind him. Microbial mass is certainly the real deal, and if you want living water, microbial mass is the stuff that you put in. So,
Yeah, I was just going to
yeah,
ask you. We use like the microbial tea that I use. I pour that into the soil to feed the soil. So
yep,
would you consider that like your tea for your
yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, except for that they've made their recipe like completely um like when you get into organic compounds in hydroponics, things can get messy.
right?
But their formula, right, their formula in specific is designed to be compatible with aeroponics in particular. And as those of us who grow aeroponics know, TF last year, her and I had countless chats about spray head clog ups, right? And she had been running a
Right?
semi organic lineup from General Hydroponics. She was using the Flora lineup, I believe, which is I don't know how the recipes go, but I know that it can be a little heavier, a little sludgier, so to
Yeah.
than your like straight up generic general hydroponics. Oh no, it wasn't the Flora series. What was it? I'm trying to remember. I always get their series mixed up. But the 1, 2, 3, the Grow, Micro, and Bloom, that stuff is super handy for aeroponics, hydroponics, or deep water culture. It lines. And so microbial mass for me personally, of course, it's a Canadian company and they've been dealing with me forever. But they were the one like he came to me and he was like, hey, you grow aeroponics, correct? And I said, I kind of do all the water cultures, I guess. And he was like, well, I've definitely got that I would love to have you try out. And certainly like when you add microbial mass, you get into the chitosal, all of that stuff is terpene boosters. I mean, it brings your water to life. It allows the roots
Right?
to just come to life. You can inoculate it or you can run it in your system continuously. Inoculations always prove to be very viable, but then also when you inoculate, you inevitably take some of it up into the root mass. You take that root mass and place it back into the grow system, and of course, some of those microbes, some of that biology is going to come out and end up in your reservoir. And of course, that's not a huge deal. The products were designed as such. Yeah, it's a
So
really awesome product, and they've got a few out there on their lineup, and we're happy to stand behind them and talk about it. So yeah,
how often do you use it? Do you
I use it with every
is
reservoir
it
swap.
so okay, yeah. So when you swap reservoirs, now were you just saying that you dip it in that solution or
So
you
I
pour that
watched.
solution in the reservoir?
I myself.
I'm sorry for asking
No
questions, but
worries,
I'm
no
just
worries. It's all good. I myself have done both methods. I watched the inoculation method done at a facility that I worked at. And that was cool. I asked the lady, the IPM lady, and I think she had a little bit of a more specific recipe. Like she was, microbial mass is your labs, but it's developed for the purpose of water culture growing, right? So it's
right.
as alive as it is. It's also it doesn't gunk up your lines. It doesn't film
Yes.
on your grow equipment as it's running through it. And so typically, rather than running even an inoculation is just more labor intensive. That's all it is, right? Like to do an individual inoculation on a plant
Right.
by plant basis, you might as well just, and this was my efficiency coming into play here, as the reservoir gets further and further away from being fresh water. Like if you're at your last 2 days before a water swap, launch a whole pile of microbial mass into that reservoir, let it sit in that reservoir and percolate through the system for 2 days, and then you get a water swap on. Your plants have just been inoculated, and you get a fresh water swap right after that. So your plants are feeling freaking
Oh
awesome. You've
yeah.
got your microbes involved, and then you get a fresh update on your reservoir, new nutrients, and the plants are saying, "Holy fuck, thank you so much."
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's good. And the reason I asked that is because, well, I wanted to know, but I'm sure there's people out there in the chat, like Mikey, he's just starting, and I'm sure he's
Yep.
going to want to get in that. And I will say with um, Master E out there, with the auto pots, you got to be careful what you run through them, because, and you're going to have to clean those. And that's why I've moved more to, well, I wanted to do the living slow, because now I'm just going to run water. Otherwise, don't just think that, oh, it's just running through here, we're good. You're always going to have to clean that out.
Yeah. No, that like I said, like watching TFP go through that last year too.
It's okay.
I'm always a believer of like letting people do their system, so that they can, right? Like if you have a preconceived notion of what's going to happen, and then the exact opposite thing happens, you actually learn so much quicker because you already had what you thought was the lesson in your head, and then real world shows up and says, fuck what you thought. Here's the actual results. And then you're like, oh, okay, so I guess everything that I just thought was totally wrong, and here's the actual lesson. And so you learn it very quickly, right? And so like I even said, back when I was like, I have a feeling that floor delicious, I think it was, I could see it being added, and I was like, I don't know. Could get chunky. And sure as shit, that's the type of stuff that if you're not running an inline filter in your aeroponic system, you just get spray heads clogged, and that is so detrimental to what's going on. So, yeah.
Yep. And that's one thing when you go with the
so for what it's worth, that's actually one of the ways. Yeah, I started to run inline filters with everything, just because even if like I mean, you just don't want particulate matter going through your lines. That's really it. Yeah.
Yeah, because even with the auto pots, when it rolls through there, it's just like gunk getting in your arteries. And eventually you'll have to wash it out.
Yeah. Give yourself a little artery cleanse.
Yeah, and that stuff's like $200 a gallon or something crazy. And if you're running, a 400-liter reservoir, you're using a lot of that. Trust me. So
yeah, and I mean that's why we use the microbial mass. I use Chitosal. I use them both very sparingly. They're not by any means, they're not cheap, but you also get what you pay for, right? So I rock microbial mass.
Exactly.
And I think it's fucking 100x, like 100 times the amount of microbes per drop. So it's, what I mean? Like it's a super concentrated version of the product, which is, hey, might as well. I don't need to necessarily get any water. I'm putting it into water. So why the hell would I want water in the bottle? Oh, it's
right.
It's yeah, certainly I go for the pro, and I think it's 100 times the microbial action. And so with that, again, like, using it sparingly and being able to kind of control the rate at which you're consuming it, that's a big up too. And that's why I'm very specific on the times that I with it as well. I want it to have its best efficacy before obviously I just go and dump that water out. Now, we also recycle all of our water. I store my water. Like if it's dumped out of the reservoirs, I don't just go and dump it into the ground. I actually put it into bottles. I'll take that spent nutrient water and take it out to the garden and feed my potted plants with it. And yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love it.
And that's,
Mammoth P questions. That's Isn't that a phosphorus blaster? What's Mammoth P? Let's have a look at that, Jeff.
Well, I'm not sure.
I feel like it's a
It sounds
because I've got
sounds that way.
Mammoth P. What is it? Okay, Mammoth P is an organically derived liquid microbial inoculant developed by PhD soil microbiologist at Colorado State University, designed for soil, soilless, and hydroponic systems. It contains a specialized team of beneficial bacteria that naturally unlock chemically bound phosphorus and micronutrients. So it is the equivalent of microbial mass. Sounds like it is an American version. So,
there you go.
Yeah, there you go. When you search Mammoth P, microbial mass sits right there beside it in Google. Yeah, there you go. It sounds like the exact same thing. Designed to unlock phosphorus and potassium lockouts and break down micronutrients so that the plant can actually consume them. Yeah, my fish poop soup has a lot of microbials in it. Yeah, Frank, you can't run
Yeah.
fish poop through aeroponic systems. It's just, again, you have to have inline filters and all that happy
Yeah.
shit. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
But
excellent
good
for
morning to everybody out there too. Hell yeah.
top watering and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't run it through
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I absolutely love fish poop, chicken poop, any poop. It's all good. It's all good for soil. Of course, you have to pick your moments and your strategies wisely if you're going to try and use those sorts of if you're going to try and use those sorts of things. I always say to people, like, the most organic I'll really go is like microbial mass, whereas it's designed for, don't use human poop.
No, you don't want to do that.
Hell yeah. Oh, there you go. Frank saying he uses guinea pig poop as well. I mean, hey, if you're gonna recycle, you might as well just give her, recycle all the fucking way. We take when we scrape our chickens out, the scraping out the chicken beds, that has to happen in the fall. We to cool off, right? It's physically hot, and then of course it's actually it's very rich in nitrogen. Yeah, you got to chill out with that. So
yeah. But I was going to touch on you talking about conserving your water. If you run dehumidifiers, because when I run dehumidifiers, I always save that water and reuse that because I just consider it rain.
Yep.
So
you'd have a lot of people, Jeff. You'd have a lot of people telling you that there's all kinds of fucking pathogens and mold spores and all of that shit in there, but I can't help but wonder how true that is of like all water everywhere. I mean, just because it's like it could still have things in it and also read an EC of 0.00, right? And it's still got some dissolved solids in there that don't have any electrical conductivity, and therefore they wouldn't get a read, but they could still be in there. I always say if there you go, not good, Jeff, high in aluminum. Well, we're not drinking.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I don't know how you would. Like how and where's this aluminum coming from too? That's the other thing now I'm wondering.
Well, I'll have to check on that.
Yeah, and like, hey, this is the thing. This is why we have to check. But certainly, where does that water? I mean, if you have to dehumidify anyways, so are we going to put aluminum water onto the ground, or I don't know, right? And that's the problem that I have with trying to, like, it always seems like no matter. Have you ever heard the saying, when you're cleaning something, all you're doing is making something else dirty?
Well, yeah. That makes sense.
But you know, like, seriously, when you clean out your house, great. Well, you just made a fucking dump dirty. Awesome.
Right.
Or it's like, if you flush your toilet, that's great, but now the sewer's a fucking mess. Right.
And I will say to elevate it there that I'll have to look at that. Of course, I don't run a DHU in there anymore, so I don't have
I'm
problem. Cool. But yeah, I don't want to put out bad information, but I've always done it and I've never had a problem. Ever.
Yeah, okay. Apparently it's the cooling coils that leach metals like copper and aluminum. But copper, copper in trace amounts is good for your plants. Right? So they're like, again, like, these are the things, right? These are the things where I'm like, fuck. it's like, and if I can't dehumidify, what am I to do? Right? And therein lies the question. So, like, which of these evils is most natural? And then what do we do with the byproduct of that said evil? You know what I mean? Like, you have to dehumidify. I can't not dehumidify in my flowering room, but certainly also then I wonder, well, if I can't use that dehum, is it just spent? I don't consider it toxic, but now I'm wondering, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be dumping that on my outdoor plant. Certainly don't put it in my bong and fucking smoke
Oh
it.
no, I wouldn't do that. No.
Hillbilly saying aluminum is the least of the worries if you grow outside. Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you grow outside, that's the thing, is that you just don't even, like you and I were talking on Tuesday, right? Like when you get outdoors, it's a whole fucking different ballgame. Whatever you thought you knew about indoor growing, you can turn it on its side or on its head, and then you can start to revamp what you thought you knew, because it's the sun is a different ball game. The pests showing up, that's a whole different aspect. The dew point, the cool points, the wind, the storms, in ground, above ground, water levels, dehydration. The list goes on. If you can learn how to grow outdoors, boy, getting indoors is a fucking cakewalk.
Right.
I know what the weather is going to be on my indoor grow literally every day. It's weatherman's never been wrong in that room. So, but hey, the outdoor stuff, that's very, very different ballpark. So also potential for microbial contamination and potentially acidic water, says safe for non-consumable plants. Yeah, like your decoratives. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, if you're not gonna eat it, throw it on some wandering guy. Throw it on your aloe vera. See if aloe vera maybe likes the.
Well, see, I'm glad I brought it up, because yeah, now I probably won't do it unless Elevated can
Imagine
show me a filter. If he, because he said you need a proper filter.
Well,
Yeah,
now
if I can, because I'll tell you what, if I can find a proper filter, I will filter it, but I'll still use it. Yeah. Because I live in Arizona, we don't have any water here.
Yeah, you gotta take every drop you can get.
Right. But no, if you're out there, I would wait and not use it, like I said, until I can figure something else out.
Well, no, but here's the funny part. The irony of what we're talking about. I'm pretty sure sunflowers are known for pulling heavy metals out of soil.
Oh, there you go.
So maybe this whole thing is like, maybe we take our dehum water and we water our sunflowers with I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm like, there's got to be a way to deal with this. Fucking hilarious, man. It turns out slim flowers grow better on aluminum or something. You know what I mean? It's like, how'd you get your slim flowers so damn well? Dehum water. It's like,
yeah.
Fuck yeah. I don't know, man. There's got to be a way to fix all these problems, or at least, hey, we're sitting here chatting about them, so the door has now officially been opened.
Because I'm always looking for a way to conserve. Again, not a tree hugger, but I live here in Arizona, and you don't get much water here, so you try to conserve as much as you can and reuse what you can. So,
of course, well, and I mean, hey, bringing it back full circle in our combo back to Yellow Skunk. That was the coolest part about his, was like
everything.
The consumption of water is so yes, exactly. It's so minimal. He's like, hey, admittedly, I have to top up the reservoir from time to time, but like, isn't that the way the water tank works?
Yep.
Like literally, there's too much water in the air, and then all of a sudden a big old rainstorm hits, and the water table, boom, fucking way we go. So it's almost as if Mother Nature worked all this shit out.
Right.
She got out her little calculus pad. She started adding ones, zeros, and she got to a point where everything kind of fucking made sense. Like, when we don't intervene, if humans don't stick their stupid nose into shit, like, the systems all run fucking totally fine. It's like, she designed it perfectly. We just have to sit here and enjoy it, man.
Right.
It's
right.
Yeah, you just get heavy metals out of stuff. So,
and that's why I got solar on my roof. My last bill, and I'm running lights in here and everything, and I'm running fans and stuff in the greenhouse. My last bill was $8, which means my next bill will be they'll owe me money. So, I mean, I love the solar. I love all the natural stuff. And again, I mean, Skunk, he says that tree hugging is good for me, but and it
does
is,
look
but,
good on you.
But I'm
it
not.
It does look good. I will say that.
I'm. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah, I love I love nature, and I think we should keep it. Yeah, and now I'll get off of that soapbox. I apologize.
I don't think you ever have to get off of that soapbox, dude. I think preserving nature is one of the coolest ever do. What else are we here for? Why not just make it the best it could be, right? Like if you know what nature's capable of, and then you know what you're capable of in accordance with nature. I always think my little plot of land here is my little natural wonderland. I'm trying to bring as much wildlife and flora and fauna in here as I can. I love it. Like I get so excited seeing the bees show back up. Like we had bumblebees out on the dandelions, and of course I'm one of those guys. I let the grass grow. I let it, you know what I mean? I want to see the thistles come up. I want to see all of the little things that actually aren't grass grow. And let the bees eat and let them pollinate and get the flowers going and let the rabbits and watch the cycle go all the way up and we're starting to get a lot more birds on the property now, which is really cool. I always figured if you start to see birds and reptiles coming back to your property, that's surely a good sign that everything's alive.
Yep.
Oh, and so we're just trying to let nature be nature in our little zone here and let it enhance itself. And I've said it before, we're surrounded by, I wouldn't call it barren farmland because it's very much, it's got deer in it, it's got rabbits, birds, and all that stuff all out in the farmland. But it is that tilled up, chewed out style of farming, right? Like 3 crops in rotation, year after year after year, all the profitable commodities, and so that's fine. That's a style of farming that has to happen in order for planet Earth to keep rolling. But then right adjacent to that is our little patch of land where we have all the mullein growing and we have bird and fucking plants that aren't desirable for farmers to have in their field, but we're like, bring it here. Right? We can be right next to you and we can have it all here, and hopefully that little bit of health from our property leaches out onto yours, and the birds and everything also, it helps everything, right? Because you need those critters around to look after the little critters, right? Like if you don't have birds around to eat the bugs, fuck man, it's brutal. Countryside can get a little bit rough in the summertime. So and same with like I told you on Tuesday about the wasps in the garden, right? Leaving the wasps intentionally so that they may destroy all the mosquitoes that come in. And then calling in the bats and just letting it all work together. So,
and a lot of times that's the best way, because I'm gonna get some ladybugs, and I'm gonna get some. Because I've already seen grasshoppers, so I'm going to get some praying mantis, and I'm going to put them out there in that greenhouse. Because I remember it must have been 50 some years ago. My old man, he got praying mantises, and I know, when was the last time? I know the last time he lived there was, let's see, I moved to 2001 was Japan, so he lived there like in the 90s, late 90s, and he's still, 30 some years later or 20 some years later had praying mantises walking around all over. So that's something, and that's natural, and it'll get rid of those grasshoppers. So, yeah.
I think when we see the mantises show up here, they usually show up kind of in the heat of the summer, right? Like they're almost like they're like the cleaner upper. They show up late and then they just gorge on everything that's
right.
mess. You know,
Yeah, why come around when they're little and tiny? I'm gonna come around when the bugs are growing. Yeah, better
Dude,
eat them.
they're freaking creepy when they're grown, right? Like you're sitting there looking at something and it's a nice little leaf, and then all of a sudden the thing moves and it's got giant red eyes and a fucking head that twists all, and you're like, what the fuck?
They're cool.
So yeah, it's yeah, seeing them show up, that's always like it's funny because I feel like when at certain times of the year when you notice that the bugs come back,
Yep.
it's almost like a feather in the cap. You know, like it's like they're paying you home a good tender of the
Right.
land, right? Like it's like they've come back again to be like, hey, thanks for having a fucking great property for us to live on.
Right. I
We're here again to help you clean up. like, you know, it feels good.
and
You're
I
just like
always
fucking
know.
right.
I always know when it's close to time to go out when I'm out watering the chickens, and there's nothing but bees all over. There might be 100 bees getting water to head
Yep.
back to our beehives. So yeah, I mean it's crazy. And then you're like, okay, it's about time. If they're coming out, then stuff must be starting to go. So
Blossoming.
it must be
Yep.
time to get going.
Yep. Like when our cherry trees blossom, cherry trees and the pears and the apples in the spring, like, you know, just a couple weeks back now, but the trees come to life. Like, dude, you can hear it's like a fucking helicopter, a drone. Like it's like a drone. Like it's so loud when they get once those blossoms on the cherries open, man. Just, you're like, oh, you look up and you're just like,
Yeah.
wow, like this is
Yeah.
nature at scale, right? Like you can't even comprehend how many
No.
blossoms there are on the tree, and then on top of that, there's probably about 3 bees per blossom, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is fantastic. So watching nature return year after year, and not only that, but also almost I dare say it's like nature tells other nature, and it's like, hey, we got this spot. You know, it's and then
Right.
nature's like, are you sure it's a good spot? They're like, no, for real. You know, the rabbits are there now. We've seen the owls are there now.
It's time.
Okay, the bees are there. Like everybody's there. You guys should come along too. And it's like nature's telling nature, and it keeps passing up
Let's
the
roll.
food chain, right? Because the big birds are now starting to fly back around, right? Not just chickadees and cardinals and blue jays, but you know we get like I said, we've had bald eagles coming around almost if they're inspecting the place to see if it would be a suitable spot for them to nest.
Right.
And you know, it's far enough away from the river, yet close enough to be an advantageous hunting ground. So I'm like, fuck, this is just sweet. Like it makes me happy to know that all of these things prefer to be near me, and then also
Right.
that I'm okay with letting all of these things grow and be alive on our property here, and it feels good, man. It's you know what, a great way to walk around in the morning, just seeing a bunch of stuff that prefers to be near you. You're like, hell yeah.
Right. Right. And I'm more of a lover anymore. I'm not into killing anything anymore. I've done enough of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I did enough of that. Let's move. Let's just let everything live and
Yeah,
everybody be
sir.
happy with everybody else and get along and do our own thing. And yeah.
I feel like the roundup era is gone. people are like, nah, let them weeds grow. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to have the most perfectly manicured freaking everything all the time. I know there's a lot of people out there that do love that manicuring of the property, but man, those properties that are alive, right? Like properties that have gardens and water
Right.
and trees on them, and you're not sure where the flower bed ends and the lawn begins. Like that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's what we need more of. We gotta let nature do nature, you know.
In other places we lived, we would, we had the sprinkler system, and you'd get somebody come in, they'd feed your yard 3-4 times a year, and you'd cut it nice and everything. But here, yeah, it's just all rock and volcanic rock and dust, and you get little patches. So it's all natural, and it's cool natural, but of course, if you got an HOA, they don't care. 4 inches.
4 inches, baby.
4 inches. Or take your house.
Yeah, why is my house up for sale? Well, you
Yeah.
didn't cut your fucking grass, Jeff, and now we're selling it.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been warned once.
Yeah.
You got one
Exactly.
warning, that's it.
Yeah.
Do I have Helgramites? Dude, maybe. Can I say maybe? I wouldn't know if I have Helgramites because I've never...
What the heck is that?
I've never seen them. I've never looked for them, so I don't know. I can't say. I should look up what they are. I would presume that if they are, if they're near you, maybe they're near me. I don't know, Hillbilly. OGGO, one more killing session on Charizard. Had a cooldown crack after fix. No worries, Skunk. Listen, the beautiful thing about art is that it does not have to have a timeline. I think timelines are a really human thing. we put perspectives on things where we're like, this has to be done by this time. Certainly there are things in life that do demand that, but in terms of creativity and artwork, don't put a timeline on it for me, Skunk.
No.
I'm in no rush. I want to see you do your thing and enjoy yourself immensely. I just enjoy the fact that you've decided to make something. That's really cool, man. Chef's kiss for sure. Just that's awesome. You know, I think like in terms of, yeah, there you go. In terms of seasonal stuff, like Jeff, you know what I mean? There are timelines. I find there are timelines in nature that I have to abide by far more than anything that I schedule for myself. You know, that's just like, I try to pay attention to the seasons, because if I'm off track on the seasons, boy howdy does my life get fucked up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Boy howdy.
And you
It
know
does.
this because I got fucked up, right? Like this winter, it was a cold winter, bro.
Yeah. Well, and I know last season when I went out, in my mind and on paper, I even wrote it all down. I had it timed, but what didn't work with my timing was what I had in the tents, which I wanted to already have out so I could put stuff in the tents so it could grow, so that I could move it to the greenhouse. That never happened, so it went to the greenhouse, and it didn't get up potted from something this big to a regular pot till it was over 30 days old.
Yep.
And holy cow, that was a mistake. So this year I'm trying to learn a little patience, breathing a little bit more, getting them out there a little later, less chance to re-veg, better chance to get a little bigger. So
like what you just said there, I think we're starting to trend online. I think people are realizing, honestly, we've had so many chats about it in the Discord, in the membership side now, just about the fact that like so many people rush to get something out there that simply does not need to grow for as long as people think that it does, right? Like if you have a 4-month veg, if you do 4 months of veg and then another 2 months of flowering on top of that, you're talking about a half a year for one plant. And I'm like, up in Canada, bro, that's not, we can't even play that game. That's not even funny to joke about. Like I was just thinking this morning as I'm out playing with the dog, we're creeping up on June 1st and I have not yet turned soil in my garden. And you know, September 1st, October 1st, those are just around the corner, and that's all we get. That's literally all we get for a grow season. So if anybody ever asks you why we here in Canada are so obsessed with indoor growing, bro, we spend about 8 months of the year indoors. Like and we have to figure out ways to make sure that we stay growing regularly. And then on top of that, with it almost being June 1st too, go from like so cool to so hot so quickly that you really do want to kind of pick your moments to transplant outdoors. And so, you know, over the last few years, I've certainly realized we go out a little bit later in the year.
Right.
The plant has already gone through somewhat of a fairly small, minute veg phase. which allows it to be established enough to take on the heat and the stress of the outdoors. And then immediately from that point forward, because you've dropped your daily light intensity, it doesn't matter how well you've timed it, you've dropped your daily light intensity down to far less hours with far more strength per, like you've got some freaking kilojoules of energy coming at it from the sun, man. And so it's got less light, but it's got more of it in a shorter amount of time. Well, that's flowering 101. So why not just lean into that? Because like literally when you go from your veg room into your flowering room, what's the one thing that happens? Like usually first and foremost, you step up intensity and the temperatures change immensely. So if you do that with the same concept as you treat your outdoors, you're like, actually, instead of me going from indoors to outdoors, it's more like me going from veg to flower. And I've been trying to tell people that, right? Like the second you take it outdoors, you've switched its growth cycle. So you might as well just lean into that and let her fucking rip, because it's like, what's the point in trying to rejuvenate it or re-veg it? As people say, rejuvenation adds probably about 4 to 6 weeks of unnecessary strange growth patterns that you then have to prune off and clean up anyways. So there's really like, you can super crop if you want, but end. So that's just at least up here in Canada, we only have 4 months to play. So why would you try and waste 2 of those months fucking around with rejuvenation? You just let it rip, man. Let it go. And then you've got because the coolest part is actually being harvested by October. That's like, that doesn't happen if you don't plan your shit right. You're into the middle of October, you're running into November, you start to get cold rains, you start to get botrytis, like the whole thing, all of that hard 4 months of work that you just fought through goes to shit over a weekend, and you're like, oh my god, why am I even trying to do this?
So I was gonna touch on a couple of your link things. Like I got this plant here, this Durban, 11-week veg, 79 days. And this is week 16 of flower. So that's 27. I'm planning on growing some stuff this next year. I got to figure out how I'm going to do it and you mentioned when you put it outside, you're just basically moving it to flower. So I got to figure it out because a couple of the strains I'm looking at, they're like veg and flower is about 40 weeks, give or take. So, but at the same time, I see your
that is sativa, right? That is sativa, if I've ever fucking heard it. Grow it on the equator. Like, you gotta grow it at the fucking equator, dude.
Colombian, Acapulco, Panama.
Yeah. But all right down right near that, right down near that line.
Well, I think the Panama is like 9 degrees north, so it's right on the line.
It's funny how you can hear it, dude. You can hear it in the name. Like if it's got Kush in the name, it should be finishing in under. It should be done in under fucking 10 weeks, easy. It's a Kush. It lives up in the Kush Mountains, right? That was the whole point of it. So. And then you're talking, Panama, Colombia, it's fucking hilarious. I'm like, it sounds pretty tropical to me.
But at the same time, I've got some I'm growing, and I'm gonna try to help Sheba incorporate into her stuff because it's about 55 days. It's a 7 to 8 week flower job. So
I love it.
So if she can do something like that, and I'll even look and see, because if you can get something like that to bring to Canada, maybe you can do that plant outside in your short little season.
Yeah,
because what it is, well, I'm going to mention it. It's Moroccan, and last Thursday I put it outside, and it was about this tall. And a couple days ago, I put one in a 13-gallon pot because, it's stretched, and I got one out there. It's taller than this cup, just in a couple of days. So
going nuts.
Yeah, so that's something to incorporate. Maybe help shave off some weeks on some stuff for her,
yes, sir.
Even yourself.
Yes, sir.
But
I can honestly tell you, as I progress more and more with my growing career and everything that we have going on out here on the farm, I know abscond. I never really considered it a fast flower, but having heard so many people's definitions of a fast flower, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's what we would classify this as because everything else, if you run it at a typical grow season alongside everything else, it's finishing a solid 3 weeks early. Um, you know what I mean? Like it's October 5th. It actually
Oh, that's
right
good.
around then. I always look for it. Like first week of October, we're good to go, and it makes me smile because that first week of October, you get a little bit of the remnants of your summer weather, and then as it fades out, we go fall really
Right, really
fucking
fast.
quick, and
Yeah, that's the way
it's
it goes. Yeah, that's the way it does here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
no,
then too. I mean, you do you have any APH? Did you
I
get your
do.
Alaska Purple Hue yet?
I do.
So that yeah, so that one again, that's designed for us northern folk. We definitely have that window, and so my choice for that project for the breeding, those both of those incredibly fast finishers and also incredibly robust for cold weather temperatures. So that yeah, it's literally it's been bred for say a Canadian climate, and then on top of that now the OGGO Army, which is of course a
Right.
little collab project between Sheba and myself. And then now we're working on a seed increase and all that other happy stuff that we got to do to make sure that the lineage stays about. But those also are incredibly fast finishers. So her so jealous, very
Right.
fast, and then the abscond. Obviously, we just talked about it. It finishes damn near 3 weeks ahead of everything else, and also on that note too, big chunky bud with it. Like that's
Oh, there you go.
it's not a fast finisher that doesn't develop. It's a fast finisher where you're like, how the fuck did you put on this much weight? Like what the
No, that's
I'm seeing
good.
an answer from Elevated. To answer your question, Jeff, ion exchange and RO, it should filter, double check, there's a few types. ROU, it should filter. I don't know. I hear you. Okay. Okay. 90 days has never been true for me. 110 plus is what I see. Yeah, for filtering the dehum water. Okay. Okay, I got you.
Right, right.
I
Yeah,
definitely
because
think, I mean, hey, don't drink the water. Don't put it in your bong.
no, because once I start up again inside and I use those dehues, I'll filter it.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, yeah.
it would be cool. Actually did like a fuck, I don't know how they could do it, but like I'd love to see some sort of scientific, like from a laboratory, some scientific experiment where they actually just like burn some smoke through a bong or through a joint, and they just, I don't know whether it's a vacuum on the end of it that makes it go, and then run it through a sensor and just see what happens. Like I don't know if I've ever been told what is it that I'm inhaling? What is it that gets filtered through the water? What's getting burnt? Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, I'm burning plant matter. Fair enough. Okay, what
Right.
other stuff happens? Right? Like, there's got to be microscopic, atomic level changes to what it is that I'm consuming at that moment. I would love to hear what it is that actually happens, right? Like, okay, at the point of ignition, the plant matter begins to burn, and carbon, heat, and oxygen are all released, or whatever. Like, and then
Right.
from there, your microparticles. So and then like draw a chart. I would just love to hear what
It
it
would
is
be
that
it would be cool
it's consumed.
to because they've done that stuff with cigarettes. They
Yeah,
got the little thing sucking the smoke through, and it says, okay, you got arsenic and
yeah.
lead and all this other stuff in there. I bet they could do the same thing.
For 100. Well, and I see Shadow's got. There we go, Dr. Riley Kirk. She has a machine, or she's been doing research. There we go. I'll write that down, Shadow, and we'll start to get on the hunt for her.
Oh, there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, is that a good idea? I love the fact that we can sit here and ponder this stuff, and then as people are watching along out in the audience, they've got suggestions, or they're like, "Yeah, I've thought about that too," and here's the answer. Right? Like,
And you
what is
and,
inside changes when you add fire? Exactly, hillbilly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could tell me there's so much stuff in this weed beforehand, right? And then we go burn some. Now what? Now what
and
happened? Is it all
and you
still
know
there?
the best part about it is sitting here and looking at the chat, and I mention something or we talk about something, and somebody in the chat, this time being elevated, he says, "Hey man, you don't want to do
Don't do
that
that.
because of this," and we all talk about it. I mean, there's nobody in the chat telling me I'm an idiot, or somebody over
Yeah,
here telling he's an idiot for telling me that, or there's nobody fighting about it. We're all acting, I don't know, like
civil.
adults, and have a conversation. I mean, that's what it's
Yeah,
all about. I
yeah.
mean, because
Well,
if
certainly
it's
nobody's an idiot. Nobody's an idiot. It's just you didn't have the same set of facts as the person sitting beside you. So if they
right,
want to care to
right, and
elaborate on
and the
what it is that they know, that'll certainly be helpful for you and me. Because I'm not trying. You know
right,
what I mean? Like you said, I'm coming here with a conversation in good faith. I'm not trying to fucking have people be smoking aluminum. That's ridiculous.
right, right, right. If it's
Like,
bad, I don't want to put that out there. Hell no.
I don't want people freaking feeding their plants something that shouldn't be fed to them.
Right,
But then you
right,
do have to wonder what happens with these cycles. Like, you can't just, even if you dehumidify the water and now you've got this spent water, well fuck, now what? Right? Like, if I can't use it on my plants, if I shouldn't dump it on my soil, fucking what do I do? I don't know what to do. Do I can't put it in the fish tank?
right.
So then I have to sit here and ask, and then hopefully somebody else out in the audience can say, well, if you have spent water like that, here's what you can do. Here's my recommendation for it.
Well,
And
no, that
and
would be
I don't have any answers, so I'm willing to sit here and say I don't know. I've never thought about what you do with spent dehum water that is loaded with maybe things that it shouldn't be loaded with. I mean,
well,
certainly dumping it on plants that aren't consumed by us, I guess maybe
right.
is an
And
option.
and that's
But what other
another. You know what? That's
consume those
another idea,
plants?
because I don't fill up a bucket that much, but when I do fill it up, I guess I could always just take that bucket and dump it out on like my rabbit bush or whatever
Yeah,
out here, or I can put it on my bunch of the house plants. No, I'll probably skip and do that. I'll just save it for outside and in the house plants, because that'll just save me one more filter I have to buy and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yep.
Oh, but I did have a question. Speaking of spent water. Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm gonna go for a walk today with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Wendy for a walk today. So
Oh,
take the,
hi, Aunt Wendy. Good morning.
she says hello. But
Love
on
that woman.
we did a video a long time ago. It was, I don't know, it might have been soil versus hydro or something like that. And there was some guy come on, and holy cow, he was all over me about how bad spent water was for the environment and stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't grow in that. I didn't say, yeah, because he's like, well, you're saying it's good for the environment. I'm like, well, I didn't say I was dumping it. I said I'm reusing that water. Because it was we were talking there. I think it was RDWC, so it was all recycled. But
Yep.
yeah, what do you guys do with the spent water? I know you store it and use it on your outdoor plants, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just keep it in jugs, dude. So we've reformatted this year due to just sizing up our build, and I really, just having two full-fledged recirculating aeroponic systems, both of them running. I would say probably it's about 120 liters per system, just constantly rotating through the system. And that also, I mean, that's an 80-liter fill on the reservoir, and then I'm probably being fairly liberal and assuming another 40 liters on top of that residing within the enclosures, right? So as the reservoir sprays upwards, the enclosures obviously fill up a tiny bit. That water circulates down through the enclosure, hits the exhaust valve, and falls back into the reservoir, and that's how we recirculate. Right? It's all gravity. It's all gravity fed back into the reservoir. So I figured about 120 liters once you have the whole system actually purged and dropped. But basically what I did was I ended up throwing one of those 1,000-liter totes outside of my grow facility. And what we do is we just run a drainage hose right from our reservoirs with the pump. We just run that out to the 1,000-liter tote. One of those big steel cage plastic totes, right? So that's where all of our spent water then sits, and it just resides in there. And come summertime, I'll just throw it. Well, come like this week, I'll throw a bubbler in there. I'll stir up all the water, and then I'll just pump that water straight out to the garden, whether it's filling a reservoir for the plants to eat from, or I just actually water directly onto the raised pots that we have. That's kind of where we're at here. So yeah, that's what we do with our spent water. It's all destined for the raised pots, which of course the raised pots do consume it. There is a little bit of leaching down into the ground below, but it's not.
You're not just
an
dumping
absurd amount.
Right.
We're not soaking the pot, right? We're not soaking the pots through into the ground. We just use it. It's basically an above ground outdoor hydroponic system using that water. That way we don't actually have to add any cost onto our outdoor growing. I know that there's still EC in there, but there's also the potential for pathogens and disease running around in there pretty rampantly.
Right.
And I gotta say, those outdoor plants and their ability to churn out sunlight in the way they do, they don't give a fuck about pathogens. They don't care about what. You've seen the meme. We've all seen the meme. An outdoor plant that grows through concrete and drinks puddle water, and indoors the plant is I need perfect pH, and if the temperature's off 2 degrees, I'll die. And it's like fucking outdoor plants. There's like a fucking blizzard, and they're like, yeah, it's like shit happens.
I wanted to pop back to an important point you made about your when you got your water stored out there. Is before you use it, you're going to go out there and you're going to put, some kind of an air source in there to bubble it, to reoxygenate it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's an important.
Oh yeah, water
push out.
It's stagnant for long enough, it just becomes anaerobic, and that's not useful. That's not useful for your roots. Now, the one thing that I did hear from my guy Rob at Father Nature, he actually commented on the fact that there is an anaerobic phase in the grow cycle that naturally occurs as a result of just winter, right? So winter forces, but he described it better than me, and we'll have to revisit the podcast that I did with him. It was an in real life podcast, and we were just sitting up here in the studio, and he dropped a couple truth bombs.
This isn't real life.
This is you and across continent, right? You know what I mean? Like I can't fist pump you. Like you know what I mean? Like we can't light one up and pass it to each other here per se.
Punch me in the head.
Yeah, exactly. I can't actually physically make you shut up if I don't like what you're saying. Okay.
Well, you could just drop me. See ya. Okay.
That's right. But no, so he was sitting up here with me, and he just dropped a couple truth bombs on me. And like in soil, there's an anaerobic phase at the start of the year that kickstarts microbiology within the soil block. And then at the end of the year, towards as the plant fades out in fall, it actually, out in nature, the soil becomes anaerobic again as it begins to saturate more and more and more and more. It loses its ability to hold oxygen because it's holding too much water. And so there's a phase the plant naturally stress in, and that leads to trichome development. And it's actually because of an anaerobic phase happening in the soil naturally, just through the process of nature, right? So this guy, he was so full of like microbiology science and the difference between your anaerobic and your aerobic phases. It's so much information from this guy. He'll be back on. I think I'm actually going to do a virtual podcast with him fairly shortly. He's from just down London way, so it's not too far from here at all. But yeah, this guy Rob from Father Nature, holy fuck, man, he had the details on some microbiology, and I was enamored with it. I just sat there and listened to him. He even described the way that the microbiology underneath your leaves in the fall, it actually is a way of that's like them reading a book. That's the way he described it. So the leaves fall off of the trees and they mat on the ground, and the microbiology comes up from the soil and it begins to consume the bottom side of that mat of leaves. And as it's consuming it, it gets the details on what's happened this year, right? So the leaves have all the genetic code and the storyline of what happened in that season. The microbes can come up and they eat it, and as they eat it, they see, okay, so we had we had a wet spell. Was there smoke? There was a smoky season, right? So the oxygen levels in the leaves weren't great. Or, the sunlight was very, very intense this year. We need to step up trichome production, right? And so the microbes have a relationship with the decomposing material, whereas they're understanding the growth cycle that it just went through. And when he said that to me, I actually stopped the conversation and I was like, could you please repeat that so that me and everyone else can hear it again? And I was like, holy fucking shit. So that's how trees and plants and soil, that's how they know what to do in the next year. They have a playbook. They can watch a replay and say, we like that move, we didn't like that move. We got to alter our path for next year. And that's how trees survive. And I just thought, holy fucking shit. What a point he just made.
That's what you call living soil.
That's living soil. Man, it's reading a goddamn book.
Yep. And I was just thinking when you were explaining how it's anaerobic at the start and then it works. And then at the end, it goes anaerobic. And think of it, I just wrote it down. Think of it like a timer. And if you think about those timers, where you push the little slots down for it to come on or go off, whichever way it is. Think of it as at the beginning of the season, your timer is set in that anaerobic space where the buttons are pushed down. If that's the way if that's when it's off, or not, it's probably when it's on. And then it changes, and then all of a sudden it works around, and now I'm back to this spot. So now I'm back to anaerobic.
Yep.
And then the new year starts. And now I start all over again. So it's just
the triggers of nature, right? And even just around here, August 15th.
But what is that the Lion King? What is that they say in that?
The circle of life, baby.
Yeah, the circle of life. Yeah.
I was about to participate, but that wouldn't have been the answer. No, but no, it's cool because like I've told people many times, and people are skeptical. Obviously, you should be skeptical. Everybody can be. I'm skeptical. So right here where I live, August 15th is the kickoff date for flowering. And that is kind of like if you've had a successful summer run, everything has been outdoors, and you're not manipulating your timeline in any way. If you just have a straight up plant that's growing outdoors, by August 15th, right here where I live, you should be starting to see pre-flower or pre-sacks, right? And from there, obviously, it's a matter of how fast the plant does flower, but you do have like a natural life cycle, a time on the calendar, all of that stuff. Because imagine if we were all just growing, there weren't any circles of life, and there was no anaerobics, and there was no fucking, you know what I mean? Like everything never was get just any, fucking whatever.
You'd never get any fruit. You'd always veg.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so like that's there are natural signals, triggers all around
Yep.
where the plants are like, okay, obviously the temperature and the humidity has dropped. It's fall.
Yep.
It's time to fucking chill out here. We're done. We're into our senescence. We gotta start eating what's inside of us and we're putting it out. We're done. And it's a really cool thing to watch year after year. Because I think with your indoor stuff, you tend to manipulate it to the point where you forget that this is a natural process. You know what I mean? Like as
Right,
much as it's indoors and you've got lights on and you're controlling every fucking thing, the plant
because
is
you're
still
Mother
a
Nature.
plant and it lives regardless of whether you want it to or not.
Right,
Right?
and
So
because you're
it's
indoors. Indoors, you're Mother Nature, so you're controlling how much light, how much water, how much heat, how much cold. Whereas once you stick it outside, oh yeah, you can water it, but that's about the end of your control.
Yep. Yeah. No,
Yep.
there's so many nuances between the indoor and the outdoor. And I find this time of year too is a really exciting one because I don't know about you, like you're walking back and forth from your greenhouse to your tents, right? And you get to see all the fucking differences. Like as you're
I
walking
get
through your day, you're like, oh, this greenhouse is fucking scorching. And
I
you
get
walk
about
into your tent, you're like, oh, this is nice. Like,
I get about 15,000 steps walking back and forth in the
yeah,
daytime. Just
yo,
the greenhouse, working out there, working in here. I got stuff going on. I'm I'm
I
planning on
think
some new different stuff now.
I think I found a spot or a plot for our greenhouse. I think I've got the perfect spot picked out for it now. I don't know if I've showed you the spot where I rototilled. We've got a whole
Hmm.
like garden with a rototiller and rows and all of that bullshit. But right adjacent to that, between that and the runway, the airplane runway, I think there'd be a fantastic little space for probably about a 20 by I don't know, maybe a 20 by 20, maybe 20 by 30
Fuck yeah, there
greenhouse,
you
right?
go.
Like
Fuck
that's
yeah, yeah,
that'd be enough.
yeah.
Like that would be enough for me to play with, start in. Um, and like I said, we want to build geodesic domes, but simple fact of the matter is there's not many geodesic dome kits out there. If you want to do that, that's a little more customized, a little more involved. But at the same time, there are greenhouse kits, God,
Right.
everywhere.
And
So,
like I
get a
said,
greenhouse kit, put it up. Fuck yeah.
Planta Greenhouses, Canadian
Planta,
company,
yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna write that Planta because they're a Canadian
excellent.
company, right?
They're a Canadian company, excellent, excellent. And I live in Arizona. Excellent customer service. I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
and you can talk to them, and they'll talk to you about what you're doing. They'll give you if you're having a problem putting it together, you could call them and oh no, they're excellent company. Yeah, so I'll give them a shout out. And I live in
Hell yeah, I
Arizona.
love that. I love hearing that. I'll maybe see if they want to do a podcast with me. We
Oh,
could
there you
maybe
go.
chat about their products and
There you
what they
go. Yeah.
recommend for people and shit like that. I mean, that's the thing too. Like your greenhouse experience, Uncle Jeff, is totally fucking different than mine, right? So
Yeah.
as time goes on with OGGO, I really hope too that people actually end up realizing that not necessarily at this. We don't have anything listed in terms of say building custom geodesic domes, but because of my ability to be a carpenter and my long time standing in carpentry and all of the tools and
Right.
skills and everything I already have, and certainly with Pete by my side, there's no reason why we won't branch into geodesic dome construction. Hopefully, just be able to take that, North America wide. But the cool thing about geodesic domes is that a lot of it you can actually prefab, right? So you can prefab it in a shop,
Right.
just like what we've got. Put it all together, make sure that your itinerary is basically covered, take a few little spare materials with you, and head on out to your job site and start putting,
Yeah.
right? And
And,
yeah,
and that's basically with Planta. I mean, a truck will drive up, drop it off. Be all in these big flats, and then
yep,
you just take it out, you put it together, and then the hardest part is when because you get the big sheets, is when you got to take your um, some kind of a knife or a scorer so you can score it, and then you got to snap it so that you can bend it over, or so you can bend it around. That's the hardest part. It's the scariest part because you're like, damn, I don't want to mess this up. That's where you measure twice, cut once.
That's right. That's always a good saying. Hey, that works for clones too. Measure twice, cut once.
Right. and one more point I wanted to make is make sure you figure out exactly where you want it. Because if I had to do it all over again, I'd put it on the north side of my house, because it's on the south side and it gets great south sun, but it takes a while for the sun to come over my house because it comes over the mountains, then it comes over my house, and then it hits as it comes over. If I had it on this side, that sun would come right in the front as soon as it came up. So do a little due diligence and go out there and watch the sun come up and the sun come down, and then you can figure out the best spot. That'd just be my advice from a guy that just put one up 3 years ago. That's perfect.
Well, I mean, the other thing about that too is having lived here, I totally hear what you're, because preparation for an outdoor garden is fucking so important, right? Like, you don't just, if you want to harebrain your garden, hey, you're gonna get harebrained results. But that's true of anything in life, right? So certainly, like, what I'm thinking of for our potential for a greenhouse here is actually the first spot that we ever ran gorillaponics out at our beta testing site. It was just almost the most eastern and most southern facing chunk of our property, right? So first thing, you get sun up, you get the sky rolling across, or the sun rolling across the sky, pretty gosh darn healthy, right? Like wide open. But then right around mid-afternoon, there's a tree line that it gets tucked in behind, and that's perfect, right? Because mid-afternoon, you've still got good light intensity, but we're dropping the light intensity too because the heat's going to be accumulated in that fucking thing like crazy. So in terms of all that, and then also knowing what crops you're going to be growing in there, I'm not going to be looking to have any of our wonder plant. I just want it strictly dedicated to starting food, maybe starting those plants, and then on top of that, just kind of filling it decoratively so that the space is not just straight utilitarian, but there's also, some beauty in there and some enjoyment when you walk in, because you don't want it just to feel everything to feel like work. Work. You got to have moments of artwork.
And the way I've got mine set up, and if I moved it over, it'd be better. But when the sun does hit it, it comes in the that would be the east door. Yep. And then as the sun travels, of course, it's going this way. So now it's just coming in my south wall. And then at the end of the evening, before it goes down the other set of mountains on this other side, before it gets behind those, it comes in the west door. So
perfect.
So if you set it up, if you do your due diligence, you can have light coming straight in like that. Now it's coming in here. Now it's coming in over here. And then as the season progresses, the sun's going to come a little higher. So now, later in the season, I'm going to get more sun off of the north side because it's going to get up top.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so that's too, like with some of our geodesic domes that we've already like plotted out where we're going to build them. They're like, you know that there's a moment of sunlight, say, but because we may have a potential for them not even being necessarily designated for gardening, but for people to stay in, or for like we've even considered building one for our chickens so that they don't actually have to necessarily have a coop. They just, you know what I mean? Like actually it would be far more like living outdoors naturally, year after year, right? You can literally put a fake tree up in the center of your geodesic dome for all the chickens to roost on at night. They don't have to go inside of a coop, and it's all protected from animals. It's still just like Mother Nature had it for them. But it's just a terrarium for chickens, basically, right? And I thought
that's cool.
That would be a really cool idea. And then also like the on obviously not with the chickens, but in some other location, building another one for guests or would-be campers, people that want to come and visit us. They've got their own stylish, quiet, very nature oriented pad, but then also making sure that it's not getting blasted by sunlight for so much of the day that they can't use it,
Right.
right? Because that'd
Right.
be the worst thing. You build this
I mean, and
kick-ass spot for somebody to stay, and they're like,
that's a good
"Fuck this!
idea
It's way too hot."
because I've seen places. I mean, you can. Well, I've stayed. We've horseshoed into a yurt and stayed in a yurt for a couple days.
Yep.
Do some horseshoeing and or not horseshoeing, snowshoeing, horseshoeing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to horseshoe. Must be my
boy.
yeah. Must have been
I ain't here to judge.
my medication, but we snowshoed in. You know, you drag all your stuff, you hang out, and then we snowshoe out. That's in a yurt. I've seen at some places where they've got like these underground. It's built like an old sweat lodge, and it's built into the ground, and you can stay there and stuff. So no, the geodesic domes as a set up as a place to stay would be cool, because you could so you could open it up and you could stare at the like when we backpack a lot of times I wouldn't put the fly over the top so I could just look at the stars.
Sleep under the stars, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, and too, like I dare say, with us at our in particular, we have dogs, and those dogs like to be protective of their house, and we like to have guests over, and so sometimes, you know, you got to have your guests elsewhere from the dogs and the dogs elsewhere from the guests. So that's kind of been one of our things that we've just been toying with along here. So
is he ready?
I'm seeing E has to get into the garden. Dude, can you believe we've almost gone fucking 2 hours yet again?
Yeah, hey, and Winnie just brought the dog out, so I think he's ready to go.
He's looking, he's like, come on, Dad.
Hey.
Waggy tail. Waggy tail. Well, listen, I think before we go, why don't we throw up a banner for guy Slim? I'm gonna throw up a little media asset here just for everybody. There we go. So guys, check it out. We got the Slim Flower Grow Off going on right now. Of course, it's a grow along as well. Guys, don't feel like you can't participate. Just get in there, get out there, do your gardening. Make sure you're in the garden. Hell, even if you're not growing a Slim flower, we don't care. Go plant some dill. Go plant some freaking onions. I don't care. Do something. Get out there in the garden. This is for our guy Slim. Of course, all the details are right there. Have fun with it. Tag us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. It's all good. We're not trying to disrupt anybody's lifestyle here. We just want to add a little bit of beauty to yours. So I know Growing Old, he's got his rocking. I've got a bunch already started myself. Of course, Slim is helping me keep this all organized and running smooth, and we're having a good time. So we'll measure the winners on September 8th, and of course we'll judge the most beautiful one shortly after that. So
there you go,
guys. There it is. There's a little bit of detail for you. Uncle Jeff, thank you so much.
Oh no, thank you. Thanks for having me.
This has been an incredible show. I really appreciate you sitting and chatting with me in the way that we do.
The cool thing is we can talk about a lot of things, and it doesn't always have to be about certain plants and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, as I sit here, I look at myself, and I look really cool.
You do look really cool.
Yeah.
I would have said that sooner. Yeah, you do look really damn cool there, sir. No, it's great to have these episodes here with you. I know you got to get out, do your thing in the garden. I got to do my things in the garden and everywhere else as well. But to everybody out in the audience, wow, there's been a lot of people in here for this whole chat. And everybody dropping comments and carrying on. Yeah, thank you guys so much. We're loving this, Jeff. I'm really enjoying these Thursdays and Tuesdays that we do here. I gotta say.
And if you don't mind, I'll keep coming back.
Dude, I would prefer it. We have a great time here in the studio.
As long as Winnie lets me. There will be the overriding vote right there.
I was gonna say, yeah, like if your wife and my wife are continuing to sign off on this behavior, we're gonna, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. We're taking miles, baby. Let's go.
Hell yeah, because I enjoy it. It's because I feel really good in the morning doing it, and I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate the chat with all the information and the no drama. I mean, a lot of people like to push some stuff, and there's stuff that goes on, and some guy popped in ours yesterday because some stuff that went on. I mean, like last week, and it's like, look, whatever it was terrible. Got it, but why do we need to talk about it every day? You're just reliving it. Let's just move on with change what we can change, accept what we can't, and just know the difference. And that's one of the things you ain't going to change. So yeah, but I appreciate you having me on and allowing me to stand on my soapbox.
All the time, brother, all the time. No, please pass on a big thank you to Aunt Wendy. Of course, you guys rock Growing Old. If you guys aren't following Growing Old, shop. I know you already are. Most of you are here watching me because you follow Growing Old. So it's there's no need to even push your account because everybody knows you the big dog.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, we got a lot of subs, but no, I wouldn't consider myself more than, that 50, 100, 200 sub guy.
There you go.
That's
always humble.
That's who we are. That's who we'll always be. That's who we'll always be. We just got a
cheers, brother.
Thing to push more stuff for the community. That's what we're
doing. You're doing great. You're doing great, guys. Everybody out there in the audience, we are gonna wrap this one up. You want to? You got time for a quick? You better fire up that little rig there. You might as well start warming it right now. And I'll see you over. Pop back. I'll see you over on the other side if you're able. And of course, guys, everybody else out there, we'll be back with another show tomorrow morning. It is Papa Pack Friday. Fucking let's go. It's gonna be awesome. That's over on OGGO.
This is my pack today.
Yeah, you can pop that pack on Friday. Well, make sure you hop up.
Maybe I'll pop up and pop this tomorrow.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Guys, everybody out there, I'm seeing Z hop in right on. Z, cheers. Big Nug, 420. We got, who else we got? We got 420 THC, Mr. E, Hillbilly, Slim. Thank you, everybody. You guys all rock. Jeff and I, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. His dogs are hungry. I, too, am hungry. I'm going to go get myself some dog food. Green Oracle, cheers, buddy. Good to see you, my friend. Green Table Gardens, thank you for hopping in here. I'm seeing a bunch of beauties rolling on through here, guys. Big salute. Big OGGO Army salute. You guys know where to find us. The link is in the bio, all of that good stuff. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning, all right? Peace.
Go home, all boy, baby, gonna come in and